So we got one more guy to talk about. Man, I love that pose. Like, it's just beautiful. All right, Paul Revere. You see him holding a little teapot there, made of silver. This guy's actually a silversmith. And there's going to be an event that happens that he's going to engrave in silver the event. And this event is called the Boston Massacre. So here's his engraving. And no, it was not colored back then. They later went in and kind of colored it because it was engraved. Like, you don't color engravings. But, man... Here we go. Yeah, the Boston Massacre.
The Boston Massacre.
All right.
So now you see the colonists actually, take to the street to protest in Boston. Mm-hmm. You see several people who are basically excited about the fact that, they're able to stand in the streets and yell these things to the British soldiers, call them names, and kind of gets out of hand. And they start throwing oyster shells. They're throwing bits of glass,
snowballs, and then taking snowballs and dipping them in water and letting them freeze up and making ice balls.
Yeah, and they're throwing these at the British soldiers who actually have guns. And so if you notice to the left of this picture, that in the Boston Massacre, you notice none of the colonists have weapons.
No.
So they were coming with a peaceful protest, without weapons, but they have all these other things that they're actually throwing, which I don't think they depict in this illustration.
No, I don't think so.
But they are throwing at these soldiers, and I think the soldiers just kind of got fed up by, about getting hit in the face with a glass snowball or a cold snowball or lobster shells and whatever else the history books say.
Yeah.
And so you begin to see the soldiers just get fed up and somebody fires a shot and here we go.
And what's hard is with this, there are so many different stories of what happened and who really started it.
Yeah.
I mean, we know the colonists were whipping stuff at them, so we know that. One story is that one of the guys slipped on ice, and when he fell, his gun went off because the guns back then weren't exactly stable. They had their bayonets on and they were pushing people back. One of the stories is that the colonists were yelling, you chicken, why don't you fire? I mean, if you got a gun, you're so manly, why don't you fire? And someone thought their commander told them to fire. We don't know. Regardless, here's what we really know. The colonists were protesting. They were throwing things they probably shouldn't have been. And they were triggered. They got triggered by it one way or another. It's not going to end well when you've got armed protests, even if it's with those types of items. So
with the Boston Massacre, you see 5 colonists being killed during this massacre.
Yeah. And actually, we got a little picture.
And one of the first victims is going to be Crispus Attucks. And Crispus Attucks was actually a runaway slave. And he actually was back and forth living on the docks, living on ships, just secretly trying to run around to keep slave catchers from actually finding him. And
because remember, not much slavery up north, right? So it's outlawed.
And so he actually made a living from being like a rope maker. And he wanted to stand up and say, we should have rights. We don't want Britain all in our business. And we're going to, peacefully protest. And so you see him in the forefront of this. And so various pictures throughout history will depict Crispus Attucks being one of the first ones on the ground who was actually shot and killed during the Boston Massacre.
Yeah, and this picture, this comes from a newspaper, and you see their initials, C.A., Crispus Attucks. Yeah. He's one of the 4. The 5th one isn't here because he died a little bit later.
Yeah.
But
because most people that didn't die from the actual gunshot, of course, are going to die from infection because it's not like they could go up the street to Williamson County Medical Center and get some help.
Exactly. So this engraving that he did, you have to notice on here that it looks like the colonists are completely just nice and calm. They didn't do anything wrong. And look at them all lined up, shooting at them.
There's
even a commander
in the picture too.
Yeah, that's a weird dog. He's gonna be coming up again later. He's gonna do some awkward things later. Just wait. But this makes it look like England was completely at fault. So we call this propaganda. And there's actually a song you'll be hearing. I did a parody of Panda.
Oh, Lord, that's right.
Yeah. I mean, she loved it. About this whole thing. But this propaganda, you need to know this word.
Propaganda means exaggerating or distorting information to make people see things your way. And we see a lot of that today, like even on the news and commercials,
political cartoons, Facebook, Instagram, everywhere.
all of that, whatever it's called. And so you will see this this be a way to kind of sway people's thoughts about an event or
Exactly.
something that has happened, and basically sway their minds into thinking, oh, this happened instead of this, or this was the real reason instead of that.
See, if Donald Trump was around back then, this would be the fake news.
Oh Lord, yes.
Because
this would be the fake news.
this is it. This is it. It's going against authority and trying to make authority look bad. So yeah, that's what this is. So in your notes, you just put fake news next to that, and you're covered. You're covered.
Yeah.
And I just want to show you that this is one of the articles about one of the guys that died. PC. You see lots of L's. The L's are actually S's, and F's are Q's. I know they're all kinds of crazy stuff. But here's the good news. After this, everyone kind of just stops back there stunned. They're like, "What the heck happened?" And so for 3 years, nothing really happens.
Chilling out.
The units are taken out of Boston. All the soldiers that have been there enforcing, most of them leave. The colonists just chill, and everything's fine for a bit.
I think Parliament was just scared. They didn't know how to react, what to do. They didn't want to make things worse with the colonists initially. And so I think Parliament was kind of scared. And the colonists were like, hey, we won. Let's just continue life as normal. We just won't pay taxes.
Right. And if you've seen the movie Twister, older movie, there's a part where a guy is in the eye of a tornado, and it's calm. The storm is not done. We're in the eye. We're in the eye of the hurricane. It's just going to get, just wait. And the backside is way worse than the front side.